Donald Brydon may have survived the poll of investors at the special meeting of the London Stock Exchange, LSE. But he is so badly damaged he should step aside as chairman as soon as a chief executive to replace Xavier Rolet is installed. The vote against Brydon's leadership is a brutal repudiation and means the LSE should be appended to the named and shamed register of FTSE All-Share index companies maintained by the Investment Association of Big Battalion Investors. It is unacceptable that the LSE, as guardian of listing rules, the clearing of derivatives and one of the pillars of the city, should carry the taint of poor governance. Brydon has not helped himself by his own conduct. Instead of offering investors a mea culpa over faulty succession planning at the LSE in pursuit of a bad merger with Deutsche Boerse, he mounted his high horse and went defensive. Organizing a round-robin letter to the FT from the great and the good, trumpeting his business acumen, showed poor judgment. But even worse was his decision to jump down from the podium at the special meeting to argue the toss with an 86-year-old private shareholder who bravely chose to dispute Brydon's record as a director of several major public companies. Instead of listening sympathetically, Brydon accused the elderly investor of being really unfair. This showed a chairman more concerned about salvaging his own reputation rather than the institution he leads. A bigger figure would have rolled with the punches and acknowledged shortcomings.Rebel investors led by Sir Christopher Hone's TCI fund may have lost the battle of Paternoster Square, but will win the war. It is inconceivable that Brydon should seek to tough it out until 2019 after taking a mauling. For too long it has been left to the financial media to name and shame FTSE companies that enrich fat cat executives while keeping the workforce on short rations. So it is reassuring that the Investment Association is finally taking up the cudgels by keeping a formal public register of those companies, where more than 20 PC of shareholders register their objections to bloated pay and other governance sins. What is shocking is that in spite of all the opprobrium heaped upon badly behaved companies, many of them look to be impervious to the dissonance of the owners. Of the 640 companies in the FTSE All-Share Index, 143, that's 1 in 5, suffered shareholder revolts in the last year. But what is really shocking is that more than two-thirds of the boards involved felt it was fine to sit on their hands and not respond to criticism. The whole idea of corporate governance was to build into boards of directors fiercely independent chairmen and non-executives willing to challenge top management and listen to investors. Too often the independent directors are too enthralled to the executives to curb rapacious behavior. The job of policing pay often falls to the weakest link on the board, who then hands over the task to consultants who complicate structures as a means of disguising huge awards. repellent and socially divisive options payouts of more than £800 million at house builder Persimmon forced the resignations of the chairman and paid chiefs in a rare example of independent directors paying a price. It would be nice to think that the Investment Association's hyped National Register produced faster and more decisive responses from the shamed enterprises. Failure to do so will only encourage Labour's John McDonnell and the hard left to step into the vacuum. The Pensions Protection Fund must be fully supported in its demand for a £9 million payment designed to keep the Toys R Us scheme solvent. The effort by the toy retailer to hold the current workforce of 3,200 hostage is unconscionable and should be rejected. A firm which managed to write off the massive loan of £585 million to a related British Virgin Island company and paid its former chief executive Roger McLaughlin £1.3 million in the year to January 30, 2016, just as the business was steaming towards administration, is not to be trusted.